Hello everyone, welcome to the lecture about Linq queries and lambda expressions. Linq queries are a very useful tool to query lists. Eventually we will get database content into lists, so it's important to learn how to query lists for, say, filtering or ordering or getting sub-items and so forth. So we will be learning a little bit more about this in this lecture. If you want to know more about Linq queries, you can have a look on the Linq query website. There is a lot of functions with Linq queries. It is not restricted to the queries I'll show in this lecture. This is just an overview of some of the more useful things. So for the purpose of this tutorial, I have created three classes: country, province, and tourist attraction. So the idea is that a country has a name, a continent name, a tourist description like nature or whatever, a GDP, and a list of provinces that we call provinces. So there's a list of this province class inside the country. The province class also has a name. It has an annual budget. A Boolean is taxed, which will be true if the province is taxed and false if the province is not taxed. Size of the province in square meter, and a list of tourist attractions. And this is a list of tourist attraction objects. So the class tourism attraction also has a name, it has a type, and two booleans, is popular and is open. So because of the diversity in the things we can do, I didn't create an interface for all of the different things we can do, but I'll be running through all the queries using a breakpoint. So I'll just have to look at the classes that we created. So as I mentioned, we have a country class. A country has a name, a continent name, tourism description, GDP, and provinces. There's then a parameterized constructor, which just makes our life easier by sending all the parameters through the constructor and setting them without having to set them individually. So I've also created a function to get test data for the province list, because we are not using a database yet. The data has to come from somewhere, so I just created random objects to fill the list of provinces. So the test data is filled like this. I just created a list of provinces, and then I created province objects by calling its parameterized constructor with just one if-else statement, and that returns that list. So when this function is called, this is executed and it returns a list of provinces. Furthermore, I just have the getters and setters of the country. And then inside province, I have something similar. All of the attributes, a parameterized constructor, the same getter and setters, and then because there's a list of tourist attractions inside the province, I just created a function to return test data for those tourist attractions, which is called inside the constructor there. Alright, so the next class is the tourist attraction class. That is even simpler. Attributes, parameterized constructor, and getters and setters. So I only created one controller. I'll show you how this runs now. And then you see there's the list of countries with the test data on your interface. So that simply calls a function that returns test data for countries, and as you can see, the test data that we have there is shown as is on the interface. If we then do our first Linq query, there's a function I created, order country by name, that we will look at quickly. This function takes a list of countries that we created there and orders this country order the country list by name. So let's have a look. So this is your first Linq query. I take the country list that I've received as a parameter, then I call the Linq function order by, that just orders the list by a parameter. This parameter is a lambda expression. So it is a funny little syntax, but the ZZ is just a variable referring to a country, and then you can call the getters and setters of that country. The get I'm calling here is the get name function that returns the name of the country. The order by then just uses the name to order the list. And then continue. This order by function does it alphabetically based on the string that it receives. So if you could have used a function order by descendingly if you wanted it to go from Z to A, but the assumption for order by is that it goes from A to Z. So you'll see the countries are ordered by name. Brazil starts with a B, so it's listed first, and South Africa is listed last, so it starts with an S. Alright, that's a simple little Linq query that we used just to order the countries by name. I will now delve into a bit more complicated Linq queries. So I won't be returning everything to the view, as I'm just showing you how to use the Linq queries. We'll look at the data that returns from each function by using breakpoints. Okay, so the first function I'll show you is get first country with name. This function takes a list of countries as a parameter and a string with a name. What it will do is return the first country in the list that it finds with that name. So let's have a look. For this we use a where Linq function. So the list countries currently has 3 items in it. The first one is the Brazil, and the second one is Germany, and the third is South Africa since it was ordered. The where function will return the objects that are compliant with the condition inside the parameter. So again, we use a lambda expression, declare a variable, and call the getter. We then compare the result from the getter to the parameter that we received. So we get the name and then compare it to South Africa, as that is the parameter we send through. The get name will be executed for every object in that list. So let's say for the first object, which is Brazil, this will be false because Brazil is not equal to South Africa. The next function is the first or default function. This says it should only return one object. So if it finds an object, it will return it as first, and then if there's no object in the list that satisfies this criteria, then it will return null. This is important to remember because a lot of errors come from null values. Let's have a look what happens. So we can hover over test country and we see that it only has one country in it, and that country is South Africa, because we sent through the parameter South Africa and we use the query that I just explained. Okay. The next thing I want to do is get the country's provinces. Remember, in the class country, we initiated which provinces are in the country's provinces list. So, to do this, I simply call country.getProvinces, which is the getter, this getter, and then I use the Linq function toList to create a C# list for it. This will return all 3 of the provinces of that country object, which is Limpopo, Gauteng, and the Northwest. This is also just the test data that we defined here. So South Africa has 3 provinces in it, Limpopo, Gauteng, and the Northwest. We can then continue. So the next query I'm going to run is a query I wrote called get country provinces where it is taxed. So what this will simply mean is that it will only return provinces that are taxed. So if you look here, all of the provinces in South Africa are taxed. So that function will return all 3 objects. Let's have a look. So again, I simply call the country's getProvinces getter, which returns that list, and then I use a where query to filter it by calling the getIsTaxed getter. If that's true, then it will be added to the return list, and then we'll return all of them that conform to that where. So seeing as all of them are taxed, what we can expect from this is that all of the provinces will be returned. You can see it returned all three provinces, Limpopo, Gauteng, and the Northwest. The next function I wrote has a very long name. So the name of this function is get country provinces where it is taxed and annual budget is big. So this sends a country object as a parameter, and then it returns all of that country's provinces where it is taxed is true and the annual budget is big, which I'll show you now. So I also added an order by function, which orders the provinces by name. So this again just calls the get provinces getter and returns the provinces that conform to the condition set in the where. The where compared the get is text to true, and it checked if the get annual budget returns a value that is greater than that amount. So that's how this Linq query works. And if we look at the data quickly, we will see that there's only one province that should comply, or there's two provinces that will comply to that condition based on that those two values are bigger than the value we set there. So let's have a look. Yes, there's two, Limpopo and the Northwest, because Gauteng had a budget which was less than what was specified in the function. The next function I want to demonstrate is the get all country tourist attractions. So this sends through a country as a parameter, and it will return all of the tourist attractions in that country. What makes this a bit more complex is that the tourist attractions are within the provinces, so we have to look through the provinces to return all of the tourist attractions. Okay, so we get all of the provinces in the country that we sent through by simply calling the getter. This is the list of tourist attractions that will be returned. We can then loop through all of the provinces and then add to that list that we will return. So I didn't want to loop through all of the tourist attractions within that province, so I use a Linq query called addRange that adds a range of objects to the list that we will be returning. And that range, is simply the tourist attractions inside that province. This get tourist attractions is the getter in the province class called get tourist attractions. So if you have a look quickly, there's a total of 9 because South Africa has 3 provinces in this case, and each of them have 3 tourist attractions. So that is all the tourist attractions that we have, and you can look through that range if you want to. The last function I want to show you is the get all country tourist attractions where tourist attraction is open. So we can just go F11 through this. We do the same thing as in the previous function, but what we change is that it only adds the range with the conditions that we specify. So we call the get tourist attractions, that returns a list of tourist attractions within the province we're looping through, and then we check if get is open is true. So if that is true, then that current object will be added to the list that we will return. So we can just have a look. Now we'll see that there's only 6 tourist attractions, and they're filtered by whether it is open is true or false. So if is open is true, then it will be part of this list. So this list will only contain elements where is open is true, as you can see. If we wanted to change that to check that is popular must be true as well, then we can change this function quickly. Here we just add to this condition by going variable or current object dot get is popular. Please note that I don't have to compare this to true because it's a boolean already. You could do it like that, but because it's a boolean, you don't need to do that comparison. So let's see how that will run. Okay, so everything remains the same. This filtering will just happen on both those attributes. Now we see there's only 3 tourist attractions that are returned, and it's under the condition that both of those attributes are true. Thank you very much for watching. I hope this was helpful. Please have a look on the Linq website for all of the other Linq queries that you can write. There's a whole range